And we're gonna get into it, fellas, of how I got to this point. But this is the results of the work. A man able to show emotion. Because a lot of us bottle it in, but you gotta be able to show true emotion. Because that's a good man, a guy right there. That's my friend. We ain't been friends 2 years yet, and we locked in. Um, Before I get all the way into it, first I want to acknowledge God, give him honor for where he's brought me from, for having me in this position once again. I want to honor Pastor D for allowing me to speak once again, bringing me back and trusting me to be able to speak to the people. I want to honor, man, I got a surprise this week, man. My wife and my mom been plotting, man. My mom then came all the way down here from Kansas, man, to surprise me on this day. So I want to honor my mom, honor my brother that came up to visit as well. You know, it was a good surprise, man. Somebody knocking on my door like the police. I hate it. I hate it. I go to the door, pop it up. Like, man, what? See, my brother, what you want? Like, why are you here? Just come to see what y'all doing. No, you ain't coming to see what we doing. What you on? Then my mama come around the corner, man. So it was a great surprise. I thank y'all for that. Want to honor my beautiful wife, the love of my life, the woman that made me a father. You know what I'm saying? She's so fine, we had to do it 3 or 4 times. We popped out 3 or 4 of them things. You know what I'm saying? So I thank her for sacrificing her body for me to give me all them beautiful children I got, man. From my oldest son who isn't here, he said he's watching, so he's out in Southern completing his summer semester. And I got my 3 beautiful children over here, Layla, Domonick, and Harper, and I just want to honor them on today. All right. Woo. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Our scripture text is going to come today from Romans. When Pastor gave me this charge, this is one of the first things that popped in my head. And so we're going to start at Romans chapter 7. We're going to start at 15. We're going to hit 19, 22, and 23. And if y'all going to get it, y'all let me know. If not, I'll go ahead and keep it going. I'll see y'all scrolling. Say with Romans 7, 15, 19, 22, and 23. It's on the screen. Let's get it. All right. So it reads, I do not understand what I do, for what I want to do, I do not do. But what I hate, I do. For I do not do the good I want to do, but the evil I do not want to do, this I keep on doing. For in my inner being, I delight in God's law, but I see another law at work in me, waging war against the law of my mind and making me a prisoner of the law of sin at work within me. Amen. So the title for today is I have got to be me. I have got to be me. And that me stands for mindful every day. Mindful every day. I've got to be me. Y'all may be seated. Thank you. All right. And so this popped into my head because this text shows the struggle. It shows the internal battles that a lot of men face each and every day. We face it as husbands, we face it as fathers, friends, employees, employers, whatever the role or title you have, we have these challenges that we face each day. And because of this, we find ourselves looking externally for the things that we need internally. We measure ourselves up against the expectations of society. We measure ourselves up against the expectations of people that we've seen from the past, people that we have in our circles, and we begin to create these false expectations, these false ideas that we try to measure ourselves up to. And so a lot of times when we're doing this, we're ultimately falling short. We fall short at the end of the day. We don't meet somebody else's expectations. We don't meet this criteria that society has created and manifested that men should be doing, that men should be acting, men should be providing in this way, men should be doing this, men should be doing that. We fall short. And falling short, this is where the troubles for us lie. Because when we fall short, that's when we go inward. That's when we begin to rethink our decisions. That's when we begin to question ourselves. That's when we try to decide, am I worthy enough? Am I the man I'm supposed to be? Am I this? Am I that? Like we trying to measure up to things that we're not even supposed to be measuring ourselves up against. And so we find ourselves falling short, we find ourselves questioning, and then we lead into depression, we lead into anger, we lead to anxiety, low self-value, low self-worth. And a lot of these things will in turn lead us to isolation. We'll go within ourselves. We could be in this room, it's full of people in here. But I know when I've been in a room full of people, I've still been alone because I was alone within my own struggle. I was alone within my own challenges. And so this is what we as men tend to do because we're not allowed to say this. We're not allowed to speak out. We're not allowed to show weakness. You know what I'm saying? And so when we find ourselves in these low states, sometimes it gets to that point where we hit suicidal ideation. I want to talk about that because I am a mental health therapist. Men, we make up about 50% of the population, but we make up about 80% of the suicide rate. That speaks a lot. Men, Pastor hit it right on the head. I told his wife he was stealing my thunder a little bit, but we suffer in silence. We're too scared to speak out because we feel that it's not what a man does. It's not what a man is supposed to be. We're supposed to be resolute. We're supposed to be stoic. We're supposed to be able to be hard and be tough and not show any signs of weakness. But I'm going to come against that today, all right? Because it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to express our shortcomings. It's okay to express our failures. It's okay. Because there was only one man I know that walked this earth that was perfect. That was it. Every other man, we not perfect. And so we're going to have these faults. We're going to have these moments where we slip. And so we're in the battlefield of the mind, fellas. We're waging war against the mind. It all starts right here. And so because we got to be me, I got to be me, we got to be mindful every day, this is where everything is going to take place. We're going to start in the mind because this is the thing we have to regain control of. This is the thing that we have to express dominion of first and foremost before we start exerting dominion over everything outside of ourselves. And so the text tells us that we delight in God's law. And so when we delight in God's law, we want to begin to come back into the fold. We want to begin to come back into his care and his family. And so soon as we get that war revs up a little bit. As soon as you do it, accepting God and accepting him into your heart doesn't make things easier. And so because it turns it up, we got old versus the new. We got the flesh versus the spirit. And the only thing that's going to win in this is what you allow within your mindset. Within your mindset, it says, I do not understand what I do, for what I want to do, I do not. What I hate, I do. This is when we're trying to change. When change is taking place, we have an idea, okay, I want to stop smoking. Cool. Let me stop smoking. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to throw away all the cigarettes I got right now. Bow, they gone. All right, so I'm riding. Man, Houston traffic, right? Stress levels go up. And we just find our car, then pull it into the convenience store, and dang, we done got out, we done went up to the cabinet, to the counter. Yeah, let me go ahead and get that right there, and we done started back over again. We walk out packing, and you lighting it up and going. Well, I don't know if everybody packing. We on these electronic things now, but shoot, y'all know what I mean. The things we hate, like we don't like it. We're trying to get rid of the habit, but we find ourselves stuck in it. And the only way we get unstuck is by continuously reminding ourselves, continuously being mindful of what's going on. Because something triggered us, something set us off that we just automatically pulled into this store. We got to find those things. We have to identify those and begin to fix it and reverse it. And so these things that we find ourselves doing that we don't like doing, the profession likes to call them maladaptive coping skills. These are things that are no good for you. They provide a sense of relief. They provide some reprieve, some instant gratification, but in the grand scheme, they're no good for you. They're no good. And so we got addictions such as smoking, such as drinking. For some of us, it's pornography. So it's immoral sexual relationships. For some, it's just hanging around the blocks. For some, it's whatever your vice is. These are maladaptive coping mechanisms. And we have to begin to shift that. We run to that because, number one, they're familiar. They're easy to get to, easy to access. And a lot of times, what I've discovered, because I've been in this profession since 2011, what I've discovered as men, to be so tough and to be so strong, a lot of us are scared of our own thoughts. We're scared to sit still, and we're scared to think. But this is our strongest weapon, because what did I say everything starts at? In the mind. It all starts in the mind. And so when we don't take that time to sit and think, we're going to revert right back to our old ways. We're going to revert right back to the things that sometimes got us in the position that we're in the first place. And now, instead of fixing a problem, we've compounded our problems, and we're adding to it. And so we got to begin to sit down. We got to begin to slow down, and we got to continue to get back into the fold. I like the verse. It says we delight in God's law. So if we're delighting in God's law, that means we're adopting the mind of Christ, correct? We're trying to walk as he walked. We're trying to talk as he talked. We're trying to behave in a way that is acceptable in his sight. I like Philippians 2:5 tells us, let this mind be in you, which is also in Christ Jesus. We got to adopt it. Is it an easy task? Probably not. It's probably not. But is it doable? For sure. For sure. Are we going to be perfect along the way? Probably not. But we can continue to progress forward. We continue to move forward. One thing I like, Les Brown says, if you fall down, he said, fall on your back. Because if you can look up, you can get up. You know what I'm saying? And so those times when we do fall, make sure you fall the right way and pick yourself up, and let's keep going forward. And so adopting the mind of Christ, getting back into the fold. A lot of times, things that are blocking our way is the things that we continuously hold on to. We need to begin to clear some things out. We got to begin to make room for God. We got to begin to give him some space so that he can grow within us. You know what I'm saying? And so our emotions and our feelings is what clogs us up. Because like I said earlier, as men, we've been conditioned not to feel. We've been conditioned to disregard whatever it is that's going on in our lives and stay focused, stay strong, man up, push through. I'm pretty sure a lot of us have heard these things or even said these things to ourselves or to others. But I tell you now that we gotta stop. We gotta pause. We gotta sit and think. Because once we begin to take this back, now we begin to give room to God. Now we begin to gain power. And so once we begin to take that power back, now we got to shift, and so, I told this the other part where he took my thunder, but I'm going to go with it anyway. All right, so if we can I get that feelings wheel up on the screen for me, please? And so, fellas, when I do ask, or when anybody asks you, how you feeling, how you doing, what do we usually say? All right. What do we usually say? Cool, chilling, straight. Man, hey, can we blow that thing up? Can it get bigger, or is that as big as it's going to be? Bam, all right. So this right here, y'all, this is a feelings wheel. This is something that I use, I practice pretty much daily. Because according to us, let me break it down. The middle, those are the most generic. Those are the most identifiable. And the further it goes out, the deeper it gets. And so the color coordinations align with the different emotions. And so this is why some people are attracted to certain colors, because they tend to carry on some of these personalities a little bit stronger than others. And so when I break this out, I asked y'all that question, how you feel? Y'all said good, chilling. I want anybody to find good or chilling up on this wheel for me. I want you to find straight. I want you to find all right. I want you to find it up on this wheel for me. Can anybody do it? Now, unless you write it in, that's about it. It's a couple blank spots up there. You could probably write it in. But what we have to do, men, we have to stop. we have to sit, we have to think. We have to think and begin to identify what it is we're actually feeling. And so I woke up this morning and I was feeling powerful. That's that green one right there. Shoot, I'm feeling proud. I'm feeling successful because over time, like I said, the work is difficult. It's difficult. The work is difficult, but I told my wife, man, she almost changed my whole message this morning too. But I told her, man, that I finally see something. She's been speaking life into me as a good wife does, man. That's my baby. She's been speaking life into me since day one. You know, over time, growing up, my mother would speak life. I would have people all the time tell me, Dom, you're this. Dom, you're that. But for 38 years, I ain't seen nothing. I couldn't see it myself. I couldn't see I could do the things. I can make good grades. I can, get jobs. I can, perform well on these jobs. But when I looked in the mirror, I didn't always see what everybody kept telling me they saw. And so I had to begin to do the work. And I've been doing this work for about 4 or 5 years now. Been in therapy. I'm a therapist myself, but I've been in therapy for 4 to 5 years now doing the work. Because now I told my wife, this is the first time I've ever said it, that I finally see it. I see the success. I see the excellence. I see the things that people have spoke over me for years. I finally see it. It don't matter what anybody else say to you. People can speak over you all you want, but if you can't speak over yourself, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And so we got to begin to do the work. We got to sit, we got to think, and we got to begin to see things differently. Because where does it start at? It starts in the mind. And because it starts in the mind, and because we got to begin to clear out this space in our mind, we got to begin to make room for God in our mind, that's where he's going to take residence. Like I said, Philippians 2:5, let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus. And so we begin to identify our true feelings. Using the feelings wheel, we begin to be more honest with ourselves. We begin to take that power away from the negative thinking, because once we speak it, once we can reveal it, now we can begin to heal it. And it no longer has dominion over our lives. We begin to take dominion over it. And so what you reveal, you can heal. What you don't reveal, it's going to stay up in there. It's going to keep rotting and decaying. You're going to keep dealing with that junk. And so let's continue to go deeper. Let's continue to be vulnerable, because what you can do, once you can do that with yourself, that makes our external relationships so much stronger. That makes them so much more authentic. It's a couple men as I look out over here, man, that I probably would have never talked to if I wasn't doing this work myself, because I always used to have my guard up. I'm a goofball, but I'm still like, okay, yeah. Keep your distance. We can talk, we can giggle, but keep your distance. There's a couple men in here, we didn't have lunch. We didn't had conversations outside of this to where now they know me on another level. I know them on another level. I was vulnerable with myself first. I was honest with myself first, and now I was able to do it externally. Now I have authentic relationships. Now I have brothers I can call when I need something, brothers I can reach out to when I need something, brothers I could depend on. I grew up with 3 little brothers. I got one of the little punks over there, man, but I used to get on my nerves, man, but we're close. But now, the relationship, when I say the brothers that I'm with now, it's just different because I didn't grow up with them. I had my brothers by proximity. Some of you out here are my brothers by choice, because I've done the work and I've decided who I want to allow into my life and who I want to be a part of their life. You have to take that power, fellas. We got to do that work, because if we don't do the work, we're going to keep having the same thing, and the same thing. Who likes a merry-go-round? I didn't like them when I was a kid. I sure don't like it now. I get dizzy. I'm going to get nauseous. I'm going to pass out. Well, man, let's keep doing the work. Because once we begin to be vulnerable, open up with ourselves, once we can, create relationships outside ourselves, now we get to seek a reward. We're struggling already. Life is already difficult. Doing the work is difficult too. I'm not gonna lie to you, but doing the work comes with something. It comes with something new. It comes with something different. It comes with a reward. It comes with freedom. It comes with battles won. It comes with a renewed mind. This is what we need. We got to continue to fix this. And so, like I was saying earlier, I've been in therapy 4 to 5 years. How I got there, and fellas, I'm gonna just be vulnerable with you. Like I said, we have these ideas, we have these things that we measure ourselves up against, and like I said, we fall short, man. I kept falling short against my ideals. We moved to Houston from Oklahoma 6 years ago, and when I tell you, like, we had a plan, as soon as we got here, that plan blew up. And I had to go MacGyver mode and just start trying to make something out of nothing. I'm driving back and forth to Oklahoma 3 times a week, going back, working there, coming back, trying to get things settled here. Once I got a job here, I'm still driving back on the weekends because I'm trying to make some money so we can be okay. We're a little behind, but we're trying to catch up, trying to get ahead, all this and that. Robbing Peter to pay Paul. I'm sure y'all have been in these positions before. And so I found myself just exhausted. I found myself tired. But because I'm a man, I can't take no breaks. I can't stop. I got to keep going. And that part, man, that keep going, I ended up sitting outside my apartment. I'm just sitting there in the car after a long day, because I used to drive to Angleton and Freeport and then come back. I know a couple of y'all say, yeah, an hour minimum. I live in Stafford, so I'm up Highway 6 to 288 every day, back up 288, Highway 6. And so I'm sitting in the apartments. I'm just tired, taking my time before I go in. And next thing I know, thoughts and visions. I said that we usually go from depression, anger, anxiety. Well, let's say that big boy was that suicidal ideation. I was almost at 80%. Because I hit that bottom. I hit that low point because I wasn't resting. I wasn't sitting. I wasn't thinking. I was just go because this is what a man is supposed to do. We got to get rid of these false ideals of what a man is supposed to do and create your own. Create your own. Some of us are in a position to where we have a father figure. Some of it are in a position where we had somebody that was able to give us some game. I love my mother. And she raised 4 of us by herself, and so I didn't have that father figure every day. Didn't have that. And so the work for me took me back there. Like I said, I'm running, trying to figure it out for my family now. Not feeling like valued, not feeling worthy. These feelings, I'm like, these are familiar. It took me back to growing up with my mom. Like I said, she did her best. She loved on us. She taught us everything she could teach us. But there's just certain things that a woman can't do with a young man. She couldn't teach me that part. She couldn't give it. And so I was empty. I was void of some things. I was feeling like I wasn't complete. And because of that, I ended up feeling like it was just better off sometimes just go ahead and let me check up out of here. Shoot, but man, I love that one song was that I had a praying grandmama. You know what I'm saying? That's my song right there, man. Shoot, because my grandmother grew us up in that thing. My mom grew us up in that thing. Like, shoot, my mama know I've been running from this, just speaking on this type of platform for a long time. That's why she popped up on me. She was like, she asked me, she said, how much time you getting? I said, 45, roughly 45 if I take it all. She said, oh, okay. Well, I'm going to watch. Now she here. But when we get to these points, fellas, like, sometimes we have done all that we can do. And that's okay. It's not always going to be enough. And that's okay. Because it's more than just financial for us. It's more than just physical protection or security. We're more than that. Number one, we are men. We provide on so many different levels. My kids have taught me that. I thought I was just a therapist at work and in my office. No, I'm a therapist when I get home because my kids, they come in with long faces. I got to check in with them. I got to see how you doing. How is your mindset today? Because I need you to be okay. I need you to be strong. I need you to be patient. I need you to be intelligent. I need you to be a lot of things. But I want you to want that for yourself. And so I have to help you develop that mindset. Because number one, like I said, didn't have it. Mom was a hard worker. She pushed education, but as far as just what a man does, I didn't have it. So now I got to make sure I give what I know to my boys. I got 3 of them, man. God bless me with 3 boys. You know what I'm saying? I got 1 daughter, and somebody help me, please. That's my baby, man. She gonna keep me broke. But man, I'm glad I got 1. But we have to create our ideals. We have to create our standards as men. As men, it's okay to take examples from outside of yourself, but you don't have to fully attach yourself to somebody else's life and ideals. You take it and fit to you. You fit it to your standards. You fit it to your ideals. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters the most. It has to fit you. It has to fit God's plan for you, and it has to fit your plan that you're aligning with his will. And so don't continue to always look externally. Begin to look internally and strengthen this thing. Let's strengthen the mind, renew the mind. And so whenever we find ourselves, getting ready to do the work, like I said, went back to childhood, went back to the hard times that I had to go through. But then again, God showed me the good times. He showed me Mama making us have Bible study on 2 or 3 days out of the week, Sunday schools. And so when I started going back to them times, I'm like, okay, God, what you trying to tell me? And so verses start coming to my mind. You know what I'm saying? It was like, okay, greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but strong and mighty through God. And so these different type of verses began to affirm me, began to pick me up, allow me to stand on my own 2 feet. And once I was able to do that with God's help, I began to shift how I saw myself. I began to look in that mirror and say, I am a worthy man. I am strong. I am intelligent. I am caring. I am more than what I was yesterday. I am growing. I am growing to become the man I need to be. I am enough for my sons. I'm enough for my daughter. I'm enough for my wife. You got to speak these things over yourself. Like I said, talk to yourself. Sit and think with yourself, because you have to slow it down. It's imperative. It's imperative, fellas. If we just keep zooming, we gonna crash. And I know some of us have crashed out. I know I have a few times. Crashed out mentally, which led to damage externally. And so let's slow it down. Let's sit. Let's think. And so how do we begin to do the work? Well, first we got to figure out how we usually respond to challenges. How do we usually respond to our crises? Can I get that threat-based mindset for me, please? And so when we find ourselves in a challenging situation, we're gonna do 4 things usually. It used to be 3. I just learned about the 4th one as I was doing my studying for this. Flight, freeze, or fawn. When we in that fight mode, we got to be right. You know what I'm saying? We not really listening to reason. It's just my way or the highway type stuff. And so we not trying to move in a positive direction. We just trying to move in our direction. When we in that flight mode, we avoiding. Trying to run. We trying to change the conversation. We trying to do anything but deal with what was challenging us. When we're in that freeze, just imagine your head in the sand. You ain't learning, you ain't listening, you ain't talking. You're not doing anything that's trying to better your situation. You're just waiting for that thing to pass. And then the fun, this one got me. I'm like, man, performative surface level engagement, it looked like something. Let me appear to be doing the work. And when I appear to be doing the work, it'll pass over me. Now I could get back to doing the foolishness I was doing before. And so these are the things we resort to. But in order to get past this, because this is a natural thing, our brain is just trying to keep us safe, keep us secure, you know what I'm saying? And so we resort to these when we sense danger, when we sense these challenges and these crises. And so in order to move past that, I developed an acronym, and I should have sent it, but I'll send it out at another time. It's called PAUSE. It's called PAUSE. The P stands for pull back. So when we're up against that situation, if we P, we pull back. We're going to step back, then we're going to assess. A is assess. Assess the situation, assess what's going on. U is understand. We got to understand it as much as we can. Was there one scripture, I think, it's in all thy getting, get an understanding. We got to understand the situation. S, we select. We select the best option, the healthiest option, the most positive option, hopefully a win-win, hopefully not too much of a win-lose, but we got to select the best option, and then E, we're going to execute on that decision. And so we pause, we pull back, we assess, we understand, we select, and we execute. That's what we do. Was when you pause and you pull back, take that breath. Take that breath, clear it out. So now we're not going to those fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. We're bypassing that, and we're going into our thinking mode now. Because what's the most powerful thing we got? The mind. We got to go into this. Get out of the back and get to the front. And so when we can pause, we can begin to see our situation differently. We can see the challenges differently, and we can operate differently. Like I said, we keep just going, zooming, we're going to keep getting the same thing. We want the same thing. We want something different. And so in order to get something different, we have to do different. We have to be different. And so it starts with you. The next thing we should do is begin to see our situation differently. Begin to see ourselves differently. We have to get out of our comfort zone. Can I get that comfort zone, please? And so our comfort zone is that red circle. It's where we feel safe and secure. It's where we feel like everything is in control. But I want to tell you that's a false sense of safety. That's a false sense of security, because living things grow. And if we stay inside that comfort zone, what does stagnant water start doing? It's stinking. It's a lot of what in there? It's a lot of death, decay. And so if we stand in one spot, we're not living, we're dying. You're dying internally. So the comfort zone is a false sense of security. It's a false sense of safety. We have to begin to expand that and move outside of that. And so I thought I had some mic stands, but we're going to use this speaker right here. This speaker right here. This is my safety zone. This is where I feel comfort. This is where I'm secure. But man, I got to see myself differently because I want my situation to change. And so, man, okay, I see myself as a therapist. Dang, what I got to do to be a therapist? I got to go to school. So that means I got to get outside my comfort zone because it's not in there. So as soon as I start to step outside that, I might hear people, hey, Dom, where you going? What are you doing? Oh, that ain't for you. Then I might tell myself, I try to go this way. Oh, shoot, Dom, come on. Remember when you took that one class last time, you failed, man. Just go on back in there. When you try to leave your comfort zone, you're going to have challenges. You can get either externally or internally. People are going to come up against you, or you may come up against yourself. But you got to push through that. So when you feel that, like we just did on the previous slide, we have those challenges, we pause. Let me take a breath. Let me understand, okay, yeah, I am a little worried about going out here. I didn't do well on that last exam, but if I study a little differently, if I change my habits, I can go ahead and make it. So let me go ahead and do it this route, and then we're stepping outside of it. And now when we step outside of it, we have we've begin to adopt new challenges. We begin to adopt new ideas. We begin to just extend our comfort zone to another space. And now we're learning. Now we're growing. And once we can get all the way outside of it, we're in the green zone. We're setting new goals. We're living our dreams. We have a new life. We've seen it in the beginning, and we step towards it. We move towards it. So the comfort zone, that's something, like I said, we got to make sure we don't get stuck in there. We have to see ourselves differently. And once we see ourselves differently, we'll see our situations differently because they'll become different. Number one, because you're different. Because you made a decision and you made a choice. And so let's get on that. That's the second one. And third point for today is let's recap. We got the control our reactions, using that pause method, coming out of our comfort zone, stretching ourselves, growing, reaching for new things. And the next one is what does your circle of influence look like? Who are the people that you surround yourself with? Huh? So if you show me 9 people that is broke, you gonna be number 10 or something like that? And so who are we surrounding ourselves with? You know what I'm saying? Are we seeing people that are reaching for new things in their circle, or are we seeing people that's happy with where they're at? You know, sometimes it's okay. Hey, sometimes people are doing well and they cool with it, but sometimes people are slumming it. And are we hanging around people that's slumming it, that's not trying to improve their situation, that's not trying to be a better man, better husband, better father, better brother, better son? Like it says in 1 Corinthians 15:33, do not be misled, bad company corrupts good character. And so are we living it, coming to church on Sundays, dressed up, and then we going out, kicking it on the block the next day? We trying to hang around people that's drinking, smoking, doing all the things that we're trying not to do, but if we hanging around them, we're going to continue to do them. So Ecclesiastes tells us 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their work. If one falls down, his friend can help him up, but pity the man who falls and has no one to help him up. So do you have somebody around you that's helpful? Do you have somebody that's willing to pick you up, that's willing to get in the dirt with you? Are you one that's willing to pick somebody up or willing to get in the dirt with them? What does your circle look like? The circle has to change. If you want your situation to change, your circle needs to be different. So if you've hung around the same people for 20 years, I guarantee you leave and you come back, they'll still be talking about the same thing. They'll still be doing the same thing. So you can go try something different because I promise you they're not going nowhere. A lot of them going to be doing the same thing they was doing when you decide to get up and go and improve your own situation. And so continue to look and shift your circle. Like I said, I've been here, a year and a half now. Man, we have a men's prayer group that we do every morning. Every morning. We got it Monday through Friday. The men get on the call and we sit there and we pray. We talk to each other. We laugh and we joke. And then once every other month, we have men meetups where we get together, we socialize, we have deep conversations. This is our circle. This is the thing that we've created within our walls at Seawall. And so if we could put those last couple things up on there for me. So men, if you're in the group and not active, get active. You know what I'm saying? If you're not active, can I get those QR codes? There we go. If you're not active or in the group, you can scan this QR code, man, and you can get on the group. Because this is what we need to continue to build each other up. As men, we struggle. We suffer in silence. But if we create safe spaces, we have safe spaces to vent, safe spaces to grow, safe spaces to learn, safe spaces to make changes. Because that's what we do. Living things grow. Living things change. And so, in conclusion, remember, it's a battlefield of the mind. Everything starts between your ears. We have to continue to work on becoming more mindful every day. Like I said, I have to be me. You have to be me too, but not me, but you me. Mindful every day. You know what I'm saying? And let's continue to watch how we react to our challenges. Change your response system to something that's going to produce different results for you. Shift up your circle of influence and get out your comfort zone, because these things will help you to grow, will help you to change, help you to become a better man, better father, better husband, better all those things. We have to do it, man. It's our charge. It's up to us, because our society, our families, our children, they're following us. And so, like they were saying, they leave an inheritance for your family, your children, their children, their children. What are you leaving? It's not just financial. What type of legacy are you leaving? Are you mirroring what you want them to see, or are you reflecting something that's not worth anything? And so let's check ourselves in the mirror. Let's continue to grow. Let's continue to do our thing, man. Thank you.